In movies, 5 actors have played the Joker: Cesar Romero, Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, Jared Leto, and Joaquin Phoenix. They're all very different interpretations of a character whose look was influenced by the work of a 6th actor, Conrad Veidt, who played Gwynplaine in The Man Who Laughs 92 years ago, based on the novel by Victor Hugo, which was published 151 years ago. So the origins of the Joker can be said to be a century and a half old. Now you learn something. Before we talk about who might have played the Joker, let's have a look at each iteration of the character. Just remember, these insights are my opinion and my opinion alone. Like the media platform that spawned it, the 1966 to 1968 Batman TV series was popular, colourful, slapstick, and infantilized. But it did give us some deliciously overacted villains. Frank Gorshin's Riddler, Burgess Meredith's Penguin, Catwoman played by Julie Newmar, Eartha Kitt, and in the movie version Lee Merriweather, and of course Cesar Romero's Joker. Romero's Joker was about as menacing as your uncle at the Mardi Gras, but that was in tune with the tone of the TV series and the feature film that spawned. The 60s Batman series was for children and stoned adults, and it worked at that level. Romero's Joker was clownish and really enjoyable, so good on Cesar. In the 1989 Tim Burton reboot of Batman, Jack Nicholson's Joker was a sexually sadistic pantomime villain, a mutilated misogynistic gangster who danced around to music by Prince and who squirted acid in the face of Rupert Murdoch's wife. At the time, the Jack Napier Joker was a shock to the nervous systems of people who were used to Cesar Romero's one. But with 2020 hindsight, and yes, I did make that joke, he's less in your face than he seemed in 1989. He's menacing, but he is cartoonish in some ways. In 2008 with The Dark Knight, we hit peak Joker. I'll talk more about this one in a couple of minutes. The 2016 Jared Leto Joker from Suicide Squad was a tattooed white boy wannabe gangster, grinning from the shadow of Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. More bully than menace, he was style without substance. We saw the actor, not the character. Leto's Joker was the ultimate gaslighting boyfriend. And that brings us to the 2019 Joker as portrayed by Joaquin Phoenix. The mentally ill, abused child Ripper Pumpkin, the king of comedy Travis Bickle Joker. The Robert De Niro wannabe who kills Robert De Niro. The movie's well shot, but if you think about it for more than a nanosecond, it falls apart. Phoenix is good in the role, but it's a poorly thought out movie in a lot of ways. This movie has, as I speak, 11 Oscar nominations. This is the reason why I don't do Oscar nomination videos. If I could say one thing to Todd Phillips, the man who directed the movie, it will be this. The song Send in the Clowns isn't about clowns, you dipshit. It comes from Stephen Sondheim's musical A Little Night Music based on the Ingmar Bergman movie Smiles on a Summer Night, which is brilliant, funny and insightful, and you should definitely check it out. The song is about a middle-aged actress who regrets losing the love of her life. Fate is giving her a final chance at happiness, and she realises that she and her lover are the clowns. It's nothing to do with actual clowns. Okay, time for me to take a chill pill. So who else could have played Joker in each of the time periods of the original work? So let's get started with the 1966 feature film of Batman that followed the TV series. For the 1966 Joker, you need someone who can do campy, capering silliness and make it work. You don't need menace or creepiness or incel mental illness here, you just need silliness. So I'm going to give you 3 possible actors. Danny Kaye. Danny Kaye was the star of one of my all-time great comfort movies, The Court Jester. He's halfway there already.
The pellet with the poisons in the vessel with the pestle, the chalice, the palace has the brew, that is true.
He could do silliness and over-the-top campiness and the mugging required for the role. He was a couple of years younger than Cesar Romero, who was 59 when he played Joker. So he's a definite possibility. The second choice is Gene Kelly, a singer, a dancer, a director, and a fine character actor. Kelly would have given us an energetic dancing Joker, and that would have been really interesting. There's also a gap in his career between 1964 and 1967, which would have slotted the Batman gig really well. I really like the idea of Gene Kelly playing the Joker. Finally, Dick Van Dyke. Actor, dancer, really bad Cockney impersonator. In 1966, Dick Van Dyke was on the last season of the Dick Van Dyke Show, and doing a Batman movie was definitely a better option than the movie he actually made. A really bad Disney film called Lieutenant Robin Crusoe, USN. Don't see that movie. You could grow roses out of it. That takes us to 1989 and Tim Burton. My first choice to replace Jack Nicholson as the Joker? Christopher Walken. Yes, I know he played Max Schreck in a subsequent Batman movie, but Walken as Joker was a missed opportunity. The 1980s were really good to Christopher Walken. He made Brainstorm, he made A View to a Kill, The Dead Zone, but in 1989 he made a turkey called Communion about alleged alien abduction, which only gets a 5.4 on IMDb. Joker would have been a great role for him at the time, and his trademark creepiness would have given us a really great rendition of the character. Second choice, Willem Dafoe. The 1988-1989 period was a good time in Dafoe's career. He made The Last Temptation of Christ, Mississippi Burning, and Triumph of the Spirit. But he would have given us a manic, insane energy as the Jack Napier Joker. And his face would have really worked with the prosthetic makeup used to give us that trademark Joker grin. Also, Dafoe was a stage actor. He'd done Brecht on Broadway, and Brecht's Macheath from the Threepenny Opera was one of the other influences on Joker. Third choice, Raul Julia. While on the subject of Mac the Knife, in 1989, Raul Julia played Mac the Knife in the movie version of the Threepenny Opera, a movie called Mac the Knife. He made the role his own on Broadway in 1976. An actor of Julia's skill would have given us something really interesting with Joker. He could be menacing and sensual and humorous. He had the presence and the theatricality that the role required. And of all the actors I name-check in this video, he's the one I would have most loved to have seen play the Joker. That brings us to the Heath Ledger Joker and the problem with this video. Heath Ledger's Oscar-winning role in The Dark Knight is a work of genius. Between Ledger and the director Christopher Nolan, they created a 21st century Joker that went beyond anything previous, whether on film, on television, or on the page. It's perfect casting, perfect acting, sharp writing, and good direction. I have nowhere to go with Ledger's Joker. He is the gold standard. His clown prince of crime was a revelation, a truly menacing villain, as much a terrorist as a criminal, and with no known motivation but to wreak chaos. The less we knew about the character, the better he was. He was a force of nature, anarchy personified, a genius psychopath who wreaked havoc and enjoyed the game of antagonizing the Dark Knight. He was a loose cannon who defied analysis and prediction. You can't better that. In 2016, we got Jared Leto's tattooed junkie Joker with more chrome in his mouth than Christine had on her grill. Leto's a guy who makes some strange acting choices. His turn in Blade Runner 2049 is indicative of that. He's almost not there, and he leeches all the energy out of his scenes. So who else could have played the Joker in 2016? I'd like to see Oscar Isaac in the role. I think Isaac had a sexiness that would have made the idea of the Joker seducing Harleen Quinzel off the straight and narrow and into the mad life of Harley Quinn a much more believable thing. Joker here is a secondary role, but his importance in the metamorphosis of Harley Quinn is based on his seductiveness. The other choice is an off-the-wall one, which would probably make you all go WTF. Daniel Craig. Knives Out showed us a different side of Daniel Craig, and I think cast as a Joker, he would have been wildly interesting. His ability to do humour and menace has now been amply demonstrated, and I think there are subtle touches he brings to even the most broad roles he plays that will make him a really interesting choice. That brings us to 2019's Joker with its 11 Oscar nominations. For me, this is Joker in name only. Arthur Fleck, with his abuse issues and mental illnesses, is an interesting character, and Joaquin Phoenix commits to the role completely. But he's the exact opposite of Heath Ledger's Joker. We find out too much about him. and there's nothing we haven't seen in earlier better films. He's the unloved child of Rupert Pupkin and Travis Bickle, which is underlined by the casting of Robert De Niro as the talk show host Murray Franklin. The casting is a bit of a slick move. It attempts to legitimise the heavy influence of King of Comedy and Taxi Driver on this movie. So who would I cast alternately? I would have made a different movie, with Robert De Niro playing the old Joker. There's a power and a gravitas to De Niro to this day, which would have given us the anarchy, the unpredictability, and the filmic history that would have made it an interesting piece of cinema. I think he could also play the madness and the humour of it. Old Joker would be a very cool movie. I definitely think that De Niro would be great in the role. And just to top it off, I'd cast Sam Elliott as the old Batman. We could get Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Shane Black to write the script. It would be great. Call me, Warner Brothers. Your people can talk to my people. We can make it happen. And I'll see you next week with another video.